What's up, guys? It is me, Sai, your anime protagonist VTuber, and your host on our bi-monthly podcast, Deep Penetrating Dots. Welcome back, my buddies, and we are now in episode we are now on episode 4 of this series that we are doing here on YouTube. And to my regulars, hello guys, thank you for always listening. And yeah, today we are going to have a very controversial topic. I don't know, we're not shying away for controversial topics now, based on based on our title. We're supposed to be doing this because this is the podcast where we go balls deep inside thoughts and then come to some realization where we either cry in a corner due to existential dread, or cry in satisfaction with the conclusions we make, or somewhere in between, confused and wondering what the hell just happened. And yeah, this episode we're gonna discuss everything I personally know, due to my work and profession and knowledge that I have and my own personal experience. We're gonna discuss everything that I know for a fact, and also for theories that I have as well, about the LGBTQ community, like the Western one, and comparing it to what we did here in the Philippines. So yeah, this is gonna be a very complex topic. So I wish for the listeners, disclaimer. Most of everything I would discuss here is based on my own experience, knowledge, and expertise that I have gathered for years. I will be as unbiased as possible, but I would just state the facts that that I know, and everything that I observe of what's happening and going on in this controversial topic. There is a chance that I could be wrong, as long as there's proper presented data. So not just opinions. Okay, if someone would try to contradict me, and if you have any contradictions, please be civil and leave it down in the comments below. But yeah, this is just based on my own observation. For those who are new, who's just gonna explore, or who just found out about my podcast and now starting in this episode, I suggest you actually listen to my former episodes first. But quick background for everyone: I am a social worker here in my local area. I basically, I'm what you call a multifaceted social worker, where I do everything that could help outcasts and those people who are abandoned by community. And I mostly do everything from taking care of orphans, building up the youth, extending help to prisoners, and socializing and organizing communities like LGBT communities, and also discriminated communities like those who are disabled, senior citizens, and everything in between. So basically, since we have a lack of social workers in my place, we don't have specialized social workers. We, unlike like in the West, where there is a social worker for helping the homeless, and then you have a social worker that does other things. Now, where I'm from, if you're a social worker, you do everything. So yeah, that's the type of social worker I am. And so yeah, that's my background. And I also I also studied, and in the seminary. I was supposed to be a priest, but I stopped midway because of personal reasons. And but I am fully trained as I was fully trained before I even left the seminary, because I am trained in community building and interreligious dialogue, and I'm also trained in psychology and philosophy. So I think I have the qualifications right now to discuss this very sensitive topic. And yeah, so let's start the topic now. Okay, so yeah, let's start this discussion of us with my let's start this discussion with my own personal experience, with especially when handling LGBTQ communities. I'm going to have my own personal story. So this happened during my high school years. So as you can know, I went into a very conservative, not really conservative. It's more of like a private school managed by the Roman Catholic Church. So it's mostly a Catholic school, but it's not really that conservative. It's more on the liberal side of things. And so yeah, how liberal are we? We still have like conservative rules and regulations, but it's not like the other Catholic school who are like either all boys school or all girls school, or like those Protestant. There are Protestant schools here as well that does not allow gay and lesbians in their school. So we have those too as well. But yeah, we are on a more liberal side. We accept everyone in our school, and so we have pretty much substantial gay population during my high school. So I was freshman in around 2011 when I was no wait no I was high school, so 2001. It was 2001. I'm miscalculating, I'm sorry. It was around 2001 2002, the school year 2001 2002. I was a freshman in my high school, and I was selected as a chair of the committee because even though I'm a freshman, my parents have large influence in our community, and especially my father. And my father is training me for political stuff. So he wants me to take over once he retires, so take over his role as the biggest political advisor in our province. And he needs to train me young. So he actually negotiated with the school to give me a leadership position even though I was just 12. So I was just 12 when I was in high school. So I was 12 years old. I was a freshman, but I was given, I was not allowed on the student council because student council is reserved for seniors in the senior high schools. So that's the school decided to give me leadership of the cultural committee. So basically we have every school year in the Philippines, we have this cultural and sports festival that always happens for an entire week for a school year. And we have a sports committee and a cultural committee, and each committee has their own responsibility. The sports committee is responsible for the sports events like typical sports: basketball, volleyball, soccer, or what most of the world call football, because we were an American colony, so we call it soccer. So you have soccer, and then you have other physical activities like tennis, badminton. They're the ones who are supposed to responsible for that. And the cultural committee, the one that I was assigned to, where we are the ones who are responsible for the cultural stuff of the festival, like the beauty pageants for Miss Sports Fest, and also its equivalent. So Mr. and Miss Sports Fest, it's a beauty pageant for males and females. So basically the males compete with each other, the females compete with each other. So that's Mr. and Miss Sports Fest. That's part of the cultural festival. We're more of like the traditional stuff that does at school. And we also like do the traditional sports like pig wrestling, which is a tradition where you try to hold on to a muddy pig for as long as possible. And then you have palo sebo, which is a traditional Filipino sport. You have we're also the ones who are responsible for sepak takraw, which is the other traditional sports for Southeast Asia. It's a Southeast Asian traditional sport. So basically the cultural committee is responsible for all the events that has deep roots within the Filipino culture. So not just events like like pageants is part of Filipino culture. Everything else is part of Filipino culture. And I think the school management required both committees, the sports and cultural committee, to make sure that everyone participates in the festival. So it's our job to actually do it. But the problem here is, one problem here is, we have the gay population, the gay people in our high school. They are very demoralized, and because they cannot really properly participate in the sports side of things, because it's gonna be an unfair competition. Okay, this is the first controversial start in the first controversial thing that's going on, especially in the West, seeing how the West is handling the sports scene. It's dumb. It's actually dumb how the West is handling the sports team when it comes to this. But we did have that same problem. I don't know, it's not that big. This is just a local high school. But yeah, we had this problem because the gay people cannot compete with the men. Let's be honest here. So even though they're biological males, they cannot compete with the men because the men have more aggression than they have. So the men is gonna demolish them no matter what sports we're gonna do it. There are exceptions. Maybe there are very talented gay and trans people out there that can actually go toe to toe with men, but it's going to be really unfair. They would have an advantage and a disadvantage against the men. We cannot make them compete with the females though, because they have an advantage over the females. They have a very well built, they have better muscle mass than females. They're typically just stronger than females, so they're gonna dominate the females too. We cannot make them compete with males because it's unfair. We cannot make them compete with females because it still is unfair. So what's the solution? What did the sports committee do? We give them their own event. But since we don't have enough schedule for for sports, because we can only like limit the space. We have a limited space, a limited time span to schedule every sports event. We cannot make a third category for the gay people. So what we agreed upon here is, I'm gonna take care of them. So they let's say I said that since, like, for example, one of our most valuable tradition is pig wrestling. It's part of the tradition of our local area because people from it has its historical roots. So its historical roots, pig wrestling started in America. Okay, so pig wrestling started in America, and Wisconsin. When I think the battalion from Wisconsin, yeah, it's famous in the Midwest, I guess. It's pig wrestling. So pig wrestling is famous somewhere in the United States. I forgot it. I think it's Wisconsin. So it's somewhere in the Midwest where pig wrestling came from, and a battalion from the Midwest of the United States were stationed in our province, and they brought that here, and it has been part of the culture ever since. So it has been a tradition, especially for young people, to do pig wrestling. But the problem here is, like, okay, so basically the problem that arose with the pig wrestling ends because we started, during my time, the animal activist has started becoming more active and, start to do annoying stuff, even though, like, stop annoying stuff, but they became more aggressive. They're becoming more aggressive. So the school is trying to find a way to balance going for tradition and pleasing these people, because a lot of the people still wants pig wrestling. They want to watch pig wrestling, but animal advocates are against it because pigs become injured when boys do the pig wrestling. So we have the boys. So boys are out of the question. So because the boys are strong, no pig wrestling with boys. And then since we are in a conservative school, no pig wrestling with girls. no girls should be allowed for pig wrestling because they would roll over the mud. They will wear skimpy clothes. They would become covered in mud, and it will be sexualized by a bunch of perverts. And the priests that are managing the school are said, no, 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 we don't want the girls to get messed up, and also there's also a risk that the pig might injure the girls. So no girls for pig wrestling. But it is part of our culture. We need to actually make that event, and everyone was looking up to it. And then we have the gay people. And so, as head of the cultural festival, I said, we have the perfect solution. Since everyone needs to participate, we cannot make the gay people participate in sports. Let them participate in our cultural sports. That way we can preserve tradition, which is very, the only way we can preserve tradition is to look forward on the progressive side. And so we had our event for our gay people. It's gotta be pig wrestling, and that's what we did in our high school, because we can make an argument that even though they're biological men, they are weaker than the typical strong men. So they will have a low chance of injuring the pig, which is true, because after the event no pigs were harmed. They were just psychologically damaged maybe. But we have to, it's I know some anti-animal activists is gonna hate this now, but yeah, it's part of the culture. At least the pigs were safe. They were properly slaughtered afterwards. But for the festival afterwards, because we got they became lechon afterwards. So yeah, basically we have the gay people. And back then, like in every single high school in the Philippines, the highlights of the sports festival was it's always been the Mr. and Miss Sports Fest, which is the pageant for male and female. But in our high school, I am so proud that the highlight of our event was the pig wrestling event. It was the pig wrestling event because it was the highlight, because fuck the pageant. Fuck the masculine men and the beautiful female. It's gotta be the pigs and our gay people. So that has been the highlight of the event, because it accidentally became the highlight, because the plan was the cultural festival, the highlight of the event would be this Mr. and Miss Sports Fest, which is the pageant at the end of the at the beginning of the sports festival. But no, the one that has been talked about for months afterwards of our sports event was the pig wrestling. And yeah, so basically that was our solution. I could remember, just imagine, because back then also we were we were all into WWE. We were, the boys are always watching wrestling, WWE wrestling. We were watching, and the gay guys are also watching wrestling for some reason. They also like watching hot men in leotards. So the boys and the gays were all wrestling fans, and we love wrestling. So we said, like, we upgraded the cultural event. So what we did here is just imagine this, like, before the start of the pig wrestling event, we get ourselves, we have the sound system right here, and we have this entrance. So what we did here, so I gathered all the gay people from our high school and said, yeah, since you guys cannot, it would be unfair for you to compete in sports, you're going to be the one who's going to continue the tradition. So most of the gay students in our school, you guys will be the one to participate in the cultural sports. We make sure that everyone else are not gonna participate in the cultural sports because of stuff like that. Like, for example, palo sebo, you're gonna be greased up. So if you're greased up, it's gonna be revealing for women. So women are not allowed to play palo sebo. And then you have the men they could participate, but most of them are busy with the typical sports like basketball and volleyball and the other sporting events. So we have all the cultural sports free, and so the entire LGBT population of our our school is left with that. So we made sure that they have their own category where they can all shine. Okay, so because the rules of the sports festival, everyone has to participate, everyone has their time to shine and time to compete and show their greatness. And they were so into it because we also like especially the pig wrestling. The pig wrestling here is the the main event. I really loved what happened last, the pig wrestling, because the gay people are also like fans of wrestling, of WWE, so we are all watching WWE, and I said like we should make the pig wrestling festival the highlight of our competition, because I was the head and I was like, fuck the pageant, fuck the beauty pageant, they're just gonna be talent and stuff like that, let's go make this something cool, let's make something memorable with our high school lives. And the gay people was like, yes, let's do it, we're gonna have like this. So basically we required the gay people not to use the normal t-shirt and stuff like that. We asked them like, when you're going for the pig wrestling, you make your own costume. Like they made their own costumes, and make sure it's not revealing though, because the priests are going to be mad, the priest and the nuns will be mad. So make sure it's not that revealing, but it's more resemble of like wrestling attires. And so basically they got themselves some yoga pants, leotards, and stuff like that, and then they decorated it with embroidery of flowers and stuff like that, because they're very creative, man. Like gay people are really creative. I really like them, because especially their taste in like making something aesthetically beautiful, they can do it, man. Like that has been the culture here in the Philippines. Like if you want to make something beautiful of your event, like you have a wedding or you have a festival, or you want to in general have a party, if you want it to be pretty and beautiful, you hire a gay guy. And yeah, our gay people are very talented. There are like 35 of them. So there's 35 gay people in our school. When I was in high school, there were 35 of them, and they were all like working together. And like, so we make sure that they're so basically we divided them into 7 groups. So they're divided in 7 groups, in which one is gonna participate in the pig wrestling event, and then the rest will be there, the rest are there to chip in on the costume, on the remixing of the music, because they're gonna remix the music for the opening or the entrance of their what we call this, we call them Serena. So Serena. Okay, I'm going to discuss later the history of LGBTQ in the Philippines, but we call them the Serena. Serena is basically a word for mermaid where we're from, but it's also a play of words for gay people. So it's a play of words because it's Sir and Reina. Sir is Sir man, or Sir, which is a man, and then Reina is queen. So Serena is a man queen. What man queen? It's a source of pride for gay people here in the Philippines to be called a Serena, because we could go on history later, but yeah, we call them the Serena. So we have a Serena, and then the rest will be the support of the Serena. The Serena's gotta participate in the pig wrestling event, and oh boy, it was amazing. It was the highlight of the career. We actually combined like the entrance, and then we have an intermission, and then the pig wrestling event. So the entrance here is like one by one. The Serena has their own like remixed opening song. It's gonna be rocket. Some of them are like they're this guy, something like that, a very I don't remember the song, but it's all hyped songs. They remixed it well. The gay people did their great job, and every one of them is costume. As the costumes were great, and we have like and then they were entering the arena. They were like walking like queens, and like, yes, baby, like, yo, the confidence in their faces. It became the highlight of our sports festival. It even defeated the pageant. So normally in the Philippines, if we have pageants, it's actually the highlight of the sports career, where everyone in the entire local area pays ticket to watch it. Now the pig event, everyone went there too as well, and we raised a lot of money. We raised a lot of money from that. We actually defeated the pageant in terms of gross gross earnings, and in terms of gross earnings for selling the tickets. So basically the sports festival it's also used by the students for raising funds for our school, so we can raise funds, so we can have better classrooms, better school supplies, blah blah, and stuff like that, repairs for the school chairs, everything, because we're not getting properly funded, and the tuition fee is not that enough to actually make the facility better. But we raised a lot of money that time, and like I can still remember the champion was Mariposa. Her legal name is Matthew. We call her Mariposa. Because Mariposa is like a local flower. So Mariposa was the champion. She held on to the pig for like 5 minutes. She was able to held on to the pig for 5 minutes. But like I still remember like every one of them like entering their school zone. Everyone was screaming like, woo! Remember, imagine like a WWE event, and then you have gay people parading, entering to the pig pen arena. Everyone screaming. Everyone was like, woo, cheering them on. The participants so confident with their colorful costumes, and colorful costumes entering to the event, and man, it was the highlight of my high school career. I really loved it. And we have like Mariposa and then Chocola. And then we have like after the entrance, we have like an intermission event where the gay people introduce themselves in order to say that who they are before they start wrestling the pig. And then we also have this, just imagine a rap battle but with gay people. Rap battle but gay people. Rap battle, gay people trying to one up each other with some tongue-in-cheek jokes and stuff like that. Everyone was happy, everyone was enjoying the event, and then after that we start the event. They start chasing after the pigs, and then holding to it as long as possible. My people, the cultural committee people, timing each one, everyone having a great time. And that was the highlight of my career. And that's the highlight of my career. That was the highlight of my high school life, and it was amazing. I would never forget that, and I'm still friends with the gay people that I have, especially our champion Mariposa and Chocola. So those two are my friends, and we are still friends until today. Mariposa is now, I think he lives in the Netherlands. He has a boyfriend there, and then Chocola is living in Japan right now. And sometimes they come home here to the Philippines. We hang out. We still hang out. Boy, they're hot. They're hot now because one of them she had Mariposa had surgery. She really looks like a woman. But she knows she's gay, and we still have like jokes. We make our own jokes. And they're basically whenever they come home, we always talk about like the sports festival and how it was amazing, how we had great fun, and how we wished we were back there again. We were 10 out of 10. I will go back to that day and spend time with them again. And it was one of the best highlights of my life. I really miss high school. I miss high school. But that sports festival was amazing. Man. So that's my own personal experience with gay people. I did have more professional experience, like at older around when I was around 2015. I also like cooperated with the local gay community here in our here in our local town, because we have festivals too as well. And so yeah, let me tell you about the LGBT culture here in the Philippines. So yeah, if you can search, you can actually search this on YouTube. You can search this on YouTube because this is widespread throughout the entire country. We have barangays. So barangays are like small villages. It's a subsection of a city or a municipality. So the thing that, so unlike like in the West, you have like the country, state, and then you have counties, I guess, and stuff like that. So in the Philippines, we have the nation, and then you have regions, and then in regions you have provinces, and then provinces you have cities and municipalities. There's a difference. So a city is much more economically developed than municipalities, but both of them are the same. It just the difference here is a place is gonna be called a city when it has a specific economic threshold. It's richer, so city, and then you have municipalities, which is a much poorer city. So it's a much poorer city. So cities and municipalities, and then each city and municipality is divided into barangays. And then barangays are divided into sitios. So sitios is just more like streets and alleys, but you have barangays. So every barangay in the Philippines has a patron saint. So basically, we are a Catholic nation. So we are the only majority Christian. Before Timor-Leste became a nation, in Asia, in all of Asia, the Philippines is the only Catholic majority population, Christian as well, Christian majority population country in the entire Asia. 80%, well, at one time it was 90%, but now it's 80% of the population is always Roman Catholic. But 90% is Christian. 90% Christian, 80% of that 90% is Catholic. So we are a very conservative Catholic nation. And every barangay has a patron saint. So every barangay has a patron saint, and during the feast day of that patron saint, we have a festival. We call it a fiesta. So fiesta is a festival that celebrates the patron saint of that specific barangay or that specific local area. And during that time of the patron saint of celebration and a fiesta, we have a Miss Gay. We have a gay pageant. Imagine that. A very religious, conservative festival, fiesta, and has a highlight of a gay pageant. Welcome to the Philippines. Every time we have a foreigner, so basically every time this doesn't stop amazing me. Like so yeah, I work in non-government organization or NGO, and we have the NGO. Sometimes we'll have volunteers from the United States. So some Americans will come here to volunteer and help with community building, stuff like that. Sometimes help with the orphans and stuff like that. So some of them, when they come here during the time where we're going to have our barangay festival or barangay fiesta. So during the festival, it doesn't cease to amaze me. It doesn't cease to amaze me that every time a foreigner comes here, they're terribly confused. So they're really confused at the fact that we are celebrating a religious festival and we have a gay pageant. And we have a gay pageant at the same time. You can search it on YouTube. Like, there are a lot of barangays that are actually uploading their gay pageants in YouTube. So you can search it, Miss Gay Barangay, and then you would find it a lot in YouTube. And it's a very colorful event. It's very vibrant. It's very fun. Just imagine, this is the vibes. I could give you the vibes. I could tell you the vibes of it. Like, imagine a festival. Everyone's having fun. The entire barangay or the entire village is having fun. All an entire barangay has at least 1,000 people or 1,000 to 3,000 people. So 1,000 to 3,000 people having a great time. Just imagine, this is a celebration of a patron saint. Specifically here in my location, there are this is what confused the some of our visitors, sometimes foreigner visitors, and I'm never gonna get tired. I'm never gonna get tired of their like amazement face, and it's actually it's like something they could bring back to their when they go back to the United States. Something they could tell, and I'm so happy that we could give them that experience. Like, just imagine, this is the vibes. It's a festival. We have tarpaulins everywhere, and then you have like the picture of the patron saint in that tarpaulin. Then happy fiesta, barangay. I'm not gonna say which barangay because I don't want to get doxxed, but just imagine we have the picture of the patron saint. We're celebrating, everyone is having fun, and then you have a gay pageant. Everyone's watching the gay pageant, and then you can go across the street and buy shawarma from a Muslim guy, and the Muslim guys go happy fiesta infidel. No, it's a joke. They just say happy fiesta. But yeah, even the non-Catholics are participating in it because it's more of a community event. It's like the event where everyone comes together, and the only ones that are not invited are those who are not willing to join the festivities. And you're gonna be a party pooper because if you don't join the festivities, the entire community is gonna shun you. Okay, so just be nice. So that's why, every person of different creeds and backgrounds and religions and beliefs, we throw away our bigotry for that one day, and everyone just have fun. Okay, there are still bigots that exist in this in my country, but during fiestas, everyone's just there to have fun. No party pooper allowed. If you're a party pooper, everyone's gonna hate on you for the entire year, and you will be chased out of the barangay. Go live somewhere else. But yeah, just imagine, I think that's the liberal dream. I think that's the liberal dream. I think everyone in the liberal side of the political spectrum would want that. But yeah, that's how the Philippine culture is. We are all accepting, we are all open, but it didn't start this way, to be honest. So yeah, we are now in this portion of the podcast where I'm gonna tell you the history of the LGBTQ community in the Philippines and how they transformed one of the most bigoted and homophobic culture in the world into the one of the most tolerant and accepting culture in the world. I think like most people in Asia are amazed on how accepting we are of LGBTQ. Majority of our high grossing celebrities like Vice Ganda, Chocolate, Boy Abunda, not just actors too as well, respectable talk show hosts like Boy Abunda, we have Alan Kay, you have majority of our most popular and high grossing celebrities are gay people. And we also have lesbians too, like Isa Sigera. No, she's not lesbian, she's trans man, so she's a trans man. We have those things common in the Philippines, but it didn't start this way. We were just as bigoted as everyone else, and the difference here is the LGBTQ community in the Philippines did it differently from what the West is doing it right now. So let's give you a small history. It was during the 60s, before the 60s, the 40s and the 50s. During the 40s and the 50s, homophobia is on an all-time high. Like, we have a lot of cases of fathers drowning their gay kids. Okay, we have fathers because there's a tradition in the Philippines. This is a tradition since ancient times. Like, if you want to make your son stronger, this is like a superstitious belief. So it's a superstitious belief to make your son stronger and braver as a soldier. You bring him to a river or a beach, and then you systematically drown him to make him more manly. So that's the ancient tradition. Like, if you it's not really outright drowning them, it's just trying to dunk them in water. It's a tradition of dunking boys in water so that when they emerge they become sea warriors. Okay, so we have that warrior culture. And then it manifested into a very bigoted, transphobic, homophobic culture, wherein, like, whenever a father has a gay son, he thinks that, or believes that, in order for his gay son to be manly, he has to drown them in drums of water. So we have a lot of that during the 50s, the 40s, the 60s. I think there is still some of it happening right now, but it's frowned upon now. It's very frowned upon now. But before that, that's basically the culture there. It's very homophobic. A lot of gay people drowned during that time. And yeah, that's also when some gay people are also discriminated upon. They were called shokois. So shokoi is it's an insult, but it's shokoi is a monster. So it's in Philippine mythology, so Philippine folklore. Shokoi is a sea monster. It's an ugly fishman. So a shokoi is an ugly fishman that goes out of the water to rape fishermen. So basically that's a shokoi. So they rape fishermen and fishermen's wife. So that's an urban legend. So shokoi is an insult for gay people during that time, and that's also when the term Serena came from. Because they were called sea creatures, those shokoi, because their fathers, gay people, their fathers are drowning them in water, and they're drowning them in water, and the other homophobic people are calling them shokois because they're always wet. They're always wet because they're always going to have a session every afternoon. Their father's going to take them and they're gonna dunk them in water. And since some of the gay people are not not aesthetically pleasing in the eyes, they call them shokois. But what did the Filipino gay people do? Did they so it's normal to actually say to fight back, to insult the other side, because they have the right to do it. No one deserves to get insulted really after being drowned by your father, and then the other people is gonna call you shokoi. That's you can calling them back, like say you're ugly or stuff like that, or lashing out with anger and hatred, and it's understandable if you will lash out with anger and hatred and force. It's understandable. But the gay community in the Philippines did not do that. What they did is they combined pride and love. And then they basically, and nobody knows who coined this. This is more of like an urban legend, but it has always resonated with the Philippine gay community. So there is this story that there's one gay person that got dunked into water by his father, and then when he walked the streets, when he actually ran away and walked the streets, there are a bunch of guys that called him shokoi. But his answer was, I am not a shokoi. Hindi ako shokoi. I am not a shokoi. I am a Serena. A Serena, which means if we translate it in English, I am not a fishman. I am a mermaid. And that is a very powerful statement right there. So instead of calling names back, instead of taking revenge on the people that is discriminating on him, he chose to just bolster up her pride and show them that you cannot take me down. I am not a shokoi. I am a Serena. I am a mermaid. I am a Serena and Sir, and it's also the term of Sir and Reina. I am a Sir Queen. I am a queen. And that's a very powerful story, and that has been the philosophy of the Filipino LGBTQ community. And yeah, most of them are tormented, but have been tormented during that time. But as the West chose the path of trying to dominate the other side. The West chose the path of pride. The Filipinos chose the path of humility, because instead of like fighting back with insults, with name calling, with anger, with hatred, the gay community in the Philippines gave love, joy, and happiness. What I mean to say is, most of the gay people, they started in comedy bars. So instead of like, like in the West, I don't know why. What the hell happened in the West? Like, why are you like getting too sensitive with comedians and jokes? But because this is the difference between the East and the West. So basically, the Filipinos, especially the gay people, when they were outcasts, they chose to do specific professions. Like, some of them went for beauty parlors. They started establishing beauty parlors and helping the women become more beautiful. They specialized in hairdressing and stuff like that. So yeah, the gay people in the Philippines gave, instead of fighting back with anger, hatred, and taking down the other side with domination, they won the other side by giving them beauty and love and joy. So that's the history. That's the difference between the East and the West. That's the thing that I have seen, because most of the gay people I know, they are one of the chillest people I've ever seen, except for the newer generation, because the newer generation are getting westernized, because Western culture is king, and most of the newer generation of gay people where I'm from now, they're exposed to the Western idea of LGBTQ, and they don't know the history of the local LGBTQ community and how we became one of the most tolerant societies in Asia. Like, we have become the most tolerant societies in Asia. We still have bigots here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're perfect, but compared to the rest of the continent, we have more open gay people here than other countries in our region. So we are the most progressive when it comes to LGBTQ culture, and it didn't get there through sheer force and calling names of the other side. It got there because the gay and the lesbian and the bi community in the Philippines, heck, we have one of the longest gay pageant in all of Asia since 1969, Miss Gay Philippines. It has always been part of our culture. And yeah, so basically it's a gradual acceptance. It's not like a forced one, because in the Philippines we got ourselves, especially we have like conservatives. A lot of people still believe here that there's just two genders, and but because they're talking about in biology, we're gonna discuss that later about gender. That's gonna be a more complex topic. But yeah, we started as a bigoted country, and now we're the most accepting one, and that's because the Filipino gay community did it by giving something beautiful to society. Okay, they gave something instead of like calling society out. They just gave them something that society would benefit from, and they won society over. That's what happened in the Philippines. I wish that is something that the West would learn from. Like, it actually saddens me that homophobia is now on an all-time high online. I don't know the local stuff that's happening in the West, but based on what I could watch online, homophobia is on its highest. But I don't blame those, because the other side is too aggressive. The LGBTQ community in the Philippines won the battle, and the bigots are the one that are outcast in our society. Unlike in the West, where the outcasts are the LGBTQ, here the outcasts are the bigots. So they won over society because They gave beauty, they gave joy, they gave entertainment, they gave love despite persecution. They did what the Christians did during the Roman Empire. That's why Christianity won as well. So they basically gave love, beauty, and happiness. Like we have a lot of gay comedians. We have a lot of gay celebrities. We have, hey, every barangay will have a Miss Gay. Sometimes they don't have the budget for a pageant, so they just opted to Miss Gay. Everyone. We have a lot of openly gay people here. We have gay Christians as well, and to the point that, do you know how much of an abomination our culture is? We have like gay people that are against gay marriage. That's very confusing because, like, for example, we have this committee in the preservation of life and culture, which is a very conservative it's a very conservative organization that preserves Filipino culture and tradition, and the Roman Catholic way of tradition within the Philippines. And it's one of its head board directors is gay, openly gay, and he's against gay marriage. He knows it doesn't have any benefits for society. Okay, I'm not saying he knows. He thinks, he believes, he believes it doesn't have any benefits in society. But he's openly gay. He likes gay stuff. He likes wearing dresses too, which is weird. So, but that's something that is part of Philippine culture. It's very confusing, but anyway, back to the drawing board. The gay community of the Philippines won over the society because they gave joy and happiness to the people. They didn't lash back. They gave society a reason to appreciate them. It's not like they're I think it's because of the culture of the West about individualism. It's because, like, for example, here in Asia, we are a collectivist society. So we have a collectivist culture. Unlike in the West has an individualist culture, because an individualist culture has its own benefits, but I think it's also has its backdrop. And so the backdrop, I guess, is selfishness and entitlement. If you grew up in an individualist society, you are more likely to be entitled and selfish, unlike in a collectivist society. So that must be the reason why in the Philippines, like, for example, you're not entitled to attention, you're not entitled to respect. In the collectivist society, you earn it. You try to earn respect. You try to earn the acceptance of society. By default, it's either society is indifferent for you. So this is the belief in our culture here. By default, society doesn't care about you, or society hates you. That's basically it by default. If you want to be loved and accepted by society, you have to give society something. So I think that's the collective mentality. Unlike in the West, you have the individualist mentality saying that I am entitled to respect, I am entitled to I am entitled to attention, I deserve to be I deserve to be respected. I deserve to be respected. It has its own merits, but it also has its own drawbacks. So not everyone, like, for example, here we also have I'm not saying that the collectivist mentality is good too as well. It has its own drawbacks too. Like you have a very unconfident population, like people with lower self-esteem. So that's gotta be bad, especially for progress. So collectivist society sucks at progress but in terms of acceptance, collectivist societies are better. So just choose what you want. But so yeah, that's basically it. That's the story of the LGBTQ community in the Philippines, and that's why they are accepted. That's why they are loved. That's why they are Boy Abunda, one of my favorite talk show hosts. He's very respective, very logical. He's gay, and I basically looked up to the guy. He's like, if you want to know who he is, he's like Joe Rogan but gay. He's like Joe Rogan in the West, but gay. And like he's one of the most respected talk show hosts here in the Philippines. You have Vice Ganda. Vice Ganda selling out every single movie where he stars in. Like best, one of the highest grossing celebrities in our country, gay person. You have OG Diaz, one of the best celebrity managers in our country, also gay. You have Ricky Reyes, philanthropist tycoon, very rich. He owns the largest chain of salons in the entire Philippines, and everything he earns, he gives back to the community. He gives back to philanthropy. He gives back to society. He gives shelter and food to the homeless. He gives scholarships to street children. Like these guys, these gay people, they were discriminated. They're old now. They were discriminated during their time when they were younger. They were discriminated because they lived in the 60s and the 70s during the time when bigotry was an all-time high in the Philippines, and yet you cannot sense any hatred or animosity in them. Like all you can feel from them is love, compassion, and the willingness to entertain, to give beauty and love for everyone. How is it so hard to do such a thing? Like sometimes when I like go to like Western gay TikTok, like, why is there so much hatred in your heart, buddy? Like, you can do so much better. Why is there so much smugness? Why is there so much too much pride? Like, again, if I were to say the difference between the Filipino LGBTQ community and the Western LGBTQ community, the West chose the path of pride, while the Filipinos chose the path of humility. And they won society over. Like, they are accepted to the point that sometimes discrimination is still here, that sometimes we actually discriminate on like wedding companies. You know, we have like wedding companies, like these companies that specializes in wedding events. So sometimes some couples, like when they see a wedding company and there's no gay guy inside there, they won't hire the wedding company. So that's where we are. That's where we are right now. Like, and it's kind of sad too, because I'm actually getting pissed off that the younger generation of my here in my local area, some of them are getting westernized because, you know, Western culture is king on the internet, and most of them are getting exposed in the internet, and they get the idea of LGBTQ from the West and forget that the progress that the LGBTQ community of the local area has done. And because they're trying to do the Western way, the younger people are now becoming homophobic. So basically, the younger LGBTQ community, this is what I see now on youth, because I'm doing youth development. I'm also doing youth development. So there are times like the younger gay people, the Zoomer gay people are getting westernized, and they're behaving like Western gay people, and so their peers becomes homophobic. It's more of a reaction to the homophobia. The homophobia has become a reaction against the aggressiveness of the Western style of LGBTQ. That is why I actually started like gathering the younger Zoomer gay people, and I teach them the history of the local gay community and saying like, what are you talking about that society is bigoted? We just got we just had a Miss Gay festival last week. What the heck are you talking about? And I'm telling them like, this is how we have done things, and this is how they won the other side over. And sometimes I'm also talking to the bigot people like, don't be homophobic. This is wrong. You need to be accepting and loving. I know you're Christian, but Jesus also taught us to tolerate and respect. You don't judge them. It's God's God is gonna judge them. Your job is just teach them the gospel and love them and accept them. And if he still what you think sins, it's up to him and God. It's gotta be up to the person and God. Your job is to love them, not judge them, not shun them, not tell them that they're wrong. Just tell them how the Bible works, and then it's up to them. It's up to them and God. That's what the Bible teaches. If you're judging them, you're an asshole. Anyway, so that's basically what's going on right now, and that's why I'm so sad. Like, I just wish the Western LGBTQ movement would chill the fuck out, right? Just chill the fuck out, and also learn something from what we have done here in the Philippines. I really wish that someday it will happen, because it's also starting, because the Western culture war is now creeping into my local area, and I hate what it's become. Okay, I hate what it's becoming. It's poisoning our culture. It's poisoning our culture. That's a very deep statement right there, but you get what I mean. It's actually starting to ruin our culture, but I don't know. More work for me. I hate it. It's more work for me. I don't want to. I'm already tired. It's more work for me. I need to explain to kids why you should not listen to the white guy. I don't want that. Okay. I want my life to be easy, but I'm still gonna do my job though, and I really hope you guys got what I mean, and I want to close this episode with by repeating what I said earlier. The Filipino gay community did not try to dominate and win against bigotry with sheer force, animosity, anger, and hatred. The Filipino LGBTQ community won the culture war by giving beauty, joy, and happiness to society. That's how they won. And that's how one of the most homophobic culture in Asia became one of the most tolerant and accepting. This is Sai, your anime protagonist VTuber. Thank you for listening on episode 4 of the Deep Penetrating Thoughts podcast. Next episode, we're gonna talk about pedophilia. Look forward to it. Goodbye, guys.